W5. A horrific shooting leaves dozens dead and hundreds wounded.
696 means we got shots fired.
Amid the chaos, a story of courage and compassion.
I don't know why I didn't leave. I don't know why I stayed.
And the Canadian victim she couldn't leave behind.
I didn't want to walk away. I didn't want there to be nobody there.
And the raw fury of nature unleashed.
You need to leave right now.
For some, a terrifying experience.
They need to think about their families.
For others, an adrenaline rush.
What pays the bills is that shot that no one else can get.
Kevin Newman follows two Canadian storm chasers.
Every day someone's like, you have the best job ever.
Who dare to go into the eye of the storm.
Go, 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 go!
Can you ever really guarantee that something bad won't happen?
No.
Broadcasting the ferocity worldwide.
We had about 500,000 people that tuned in.
Capturing the aftermath and ruin.
Did you spend the night here last night? Are you crazy?
Deadly weather that now, despite the danger,
They're not acting rational when they get their adrenaline going.
attracts a new breed of thrill seeker.
Do they really know what they're getting into?
They want the experience of storm chasing.
Woo! Unreal, man.
Here is Kevin Newman.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. There's been a great deal of sorrow in so many homes this week in the aftermath of the Las Vegas mass murders. Hundreds of victims and their family and friends coping with a horror that's changed their lives forever. But there have also been remarkable stories of heroism, courage, and character, including one involving a young Canadian man who lay dying in the street. This is the story of the stranger who gave him comfort when he needed it most, as told to CTV's Joy Malbon.
When shots rang out at the Route 91 Music Festival, all those who could ran for their lives.
Means we got shots fired. 4:15 ASF.
Or tried to hide wherever possible. With the shooter firing from 32 stories up in the hotel across the way, there was little cover. But in the panic to escape, some, in selfless acts of courage, stopped to help the wounded and the dying.
There was so many bodies, like not even in that area, like there was bodies even like a street over, like people had tried to get to cars.
Only a few days have passed, but for Heather Goose, those terrifying moments will remain forever etched in her mind.
We were in the bar, just doing our thing. We could hear Jason Aldean singing. We heard a noise, but it just sounded like feedback. You know, he kept singing. And then all of a sudden, the music just shut off. And then you just heard screams. It could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 5 seconds. All of a sudden, here comes thousands of people come running through the door of our bar. And I learned later that they were pushing people our side because the shots were coming from that side. Just thousands. They're running, tables are everywhere, they're screaming, shooter, shooter, gun, gun. And you say, this'll never be my life. And it was happening right there.
Goose had been working the music festival as a bartender until Sunday night, and the final act, it had been a fun job. And then the shooting began, and for reasons she can't fully explain, Goose did not run.
As far as we knew, the shooter was right there at the doorway. He was right there behind us. We didn't know if there was 20 of them. At this point, all I'm thinking is he's standing at the doorway. He's at the bar. I don't know why I didn't run. Like everybody keeps asking me, I don't know why I didn't leave. I don't know why I stayed. I had every right and every reason to run out the door. But I didn't. I stayed.
Hey, right now, we need your truck. We just need to get people over to the hospital, okay?
Okay, go ahead. Put them all in the back.
Okay.
Fast forward about maybe 30 minutes. At this point, we've carried some people and moved people, and you've seen people carrying bodies, half alive, not alive, alive and screaming, signs that they pulled down, banners were being used as stretchers. The gates that were barricading the stage had 4, 5, 6 people carrying bodies on it. So I was standing back on the street that was behind the bar that has now turned into a triage. 3 guys come running out of the fence. They're carrying a maintenance ladder. And again, we need hands, we need hands. He's laying on the ladder. We need hands. I turned around, I walked over, I grabbed the corner of the ladder. I had my other hand on his arm.
That victim was Jordan McEldoon, a Canadian from Maple Ridge, British Columbia. He'd come to Las Vegas for an early celebration of his 24th birthday, along with his girlfriend, Amber. One of the bursts of gunfire critically wounded Jordan. Amber stayed with him, but was ordered to take cover by authorities to save herself. Rescuers brought Jordan from the killing field to where Heather Goose was helping the victims.
I had my hand on top of Jordan's hand. He had his fingers kind of curled around my fingers. Before they were even like through the fence, like I felt him squeeze, and then I felt his hand go just limp. There was all these bodies, and there was people praying over them. There was husbands and wives and friends crying. I didn't want to walk away. There was, to the right, down the street a little bit, there were 2 bodies, and they were just there with shirts over their faces. I didn't want there to be nobody there. So I stayed. My sister said I was supposed to be there. There was a reason that I was there. There was a reason I was working that venue. There was a reason why I didn't run that day. There was a reason why I was standing there when they came out of the gate holding that ladder.
Heather's Facebook posts capture the horror of that night and remarks about Jordan's passing. But the story doesn't end there.
And his cell phone rang, and the other guy that had come over, who actually took his shirt off and had put his shirt over Jordan's face, pulled the cell phone out of the guy's pocket, handed it to me. I said, "Who is this?" And "This is Connor. Who is this?" I said, "My name is Heather." And I said, "Where are you calling from?" And he said, "I'm calling from British Columbia, Vancouver." And I said, "Who are you calling?" And that's when he told me Jordan's name. And he said, "I've been hearing on the news that there was some crazy shooting. Jordan's there. Like, I wanted to find out, like, you know, if he's okay." And I said, "I'm with Jordan." And he said, "Is he okay?" And I said, "No." I said, "He's passed away." I said, "Who is he here with?" And he told me Amber, which was Jordan's girlfriend. We got Amber's phone number. I called Amber. And I said, "My name is Heather Goose." I said, "I'm a bartender at Route 91. I said, "I'm with Jordan." And she said, "Is he okay?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Is he hurt?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Tell me the truth, be honest. Like, how bad is it?" And I said, he's passed away. He's gone." And she said, no, check his breathing. Make sure he's got a pulse, make sure." And I said, "I've been with him over an hour." I said, he's dead. And she started crying, and she said, he's the love of my life. Check again, check again. When I was talking to Amber, I said to her, she said, I can't get out, they won't let me out. I said, I'm not gonna leave him. I made a promise to her that I would stay with him and make sure that everybody knew who he was, that I would contact her with any information. Whatever they were doing with her, wherever, I would let them know where she was, who she was. I promised her that anything that I found out that she would know, that I would make sure that she knew that I would not leave him.
Dozens of people died that night. More than 500 were injured. The texts on Heather's phone provide a sad timeline of a loved one and a family learning of and coming to grips with a senseless tragedy, one that Heather herself says she'll live with for the rest of her life.
I have had a Facebook message from his mom saying that I'm grateful that you were with him and thank you. I am forever going to be connected to this family. Not just like in a Google search, but like this man who I didn't know, who I spent 4 or 5 hours with, is part of my story now. Like, this family is always going to be, like, everything that I do, every part of me is connected to them.
Jordan McEldoon's girlfriend Amber and his parents have requested privacy while they grieve. And there are at least 3 other Canadian families who have suffered a terrible loss, and many more who have something to be thankful for because they survived. Here's what's straight ahead.
The sheer wreckage of a Category 5 hurricane.
Oh, wow, look at that.
And those who stayed behind.
Oh my God, you must have been terrified.
A little bit.
When W5 continues.